Hey guys, what's up? Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. This is going to be all about my financial goals for 2023 and a little bit of a year-end wrap for 2022. I'll link the video here of my 2022 financial goals. So if you're excited for the video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's go. Let's do the math on that real quick here. So let's start with net worth. The net worth at the beginning of the year, so January 2022, was $140,081. If you watched my previous video, my December net worth update, you know that my net worth at the end of December is $123,428. So that is a decrease from the beginning of the year of $16,653. Yes, that is a pretty big dip, but So the reason that I had such a big dip in net worth in 2022 is because I quit my corporate job at the end of 2021. So about 5 months or 4 months of 2022, I was not working. And in the beginning of the year, I was planning on going back to school, which did not end up happening. I'll link the video here if you're interested in hearing about that. But the other half of the year, I started a job at a craft brewery in my area, and I've only been working part-time for the rest of the year. So I haven't made a whole lot of money. I've been focusing a lot on just doing whatever, like really doing a lot more YouTube, trying to come up with more interesting ideas and doing a little bit of traveling and just focusing on myself. I think a lot this year I've been stepping back and doing a lot of self-reflection, trying to figure out like what I actually want in life, which is a really big question. I'm not going to say that I regret this year in terms of how much money I have spent, and you can see that the dip in net worth comes from that. I don't regret it, but something that I have realized is that trying to find a job that I actually enjoy is going to be my biggest hurdle. I'm really not sure if I want to work full time again, and I don't know if I want like a regular job again. There are frustrations with every job, and even though I love my job, I love working at a craft brewery, I do have days that I'm not happy. I do have a lot of frustrations. There are the same types of frustrations in the job that I have now that I had working full time in a job that I really didn't like. So trying to find that middle ground, I think, is going to be a big part of my 2023 journey. And I hope you guys come along for it. If you do, great. If not, that's cool too. But moving abroad, moving to a different country with a different pace of life, I'm really looking forward to seeing what that does for me in terms of how I view work and how I view maybe a more traditional job. Because I do want to go back to making a good amount of money, and we'll get into my ideas for how I'm going to get there. But first, let's review the goals that I made at the beginning of 2022 and how I have done with them. So at the beginning of the year, I didn't have any kind of financial goal in terms of actual dollar amounts because I knew that I was leaving my job and going back to school, which I didn't do, but I didn't have any money goals because of that. So there wasn't any money goal to hit. So I'm good with that. Another goal of mine was to pick up a lot of side hustles and bring in some income doing things like Poshmark or selling items secondhand. And I was able to pull in about $500 in income doing that. So I didn't make it as much of a focus as I thought I was going to at the beginning of the year. I wasn't like going to stores looking for items to resell them. It was mostly me just going through my closet multiple times and like clearing it out. The next item was I wanted to maintain a good workout routine, and I think I've done pretty good at this. I didn't end up going to like the gym. I did work out at home a little bit, but it's just like really not for me. So I ended up, when I started working at the brewery, I would walk to and from work a lot of the times when the weather was good. And then my actual job was or is quite physical. So I ended up getting in pretty decent shape working throughout the spring, summer, and fall months. And just walking to and from work alone was a huge factor in me feeling like a lot better about myself and just getting into a really good routine with movement and being out in the world. And I really did enjoy that. That's definitely something I want to continue going forward. Another thing I had on my goal list was to cook and find new recipes. That's something I've definitely done. I think this year, I feel like I've cooked more than ever before. We really don't eat out. We really don't order in, like maybe once or twice a month. And when we do, a lot of the times I almost don't I'm almost like not happy that I spent that money on that food because it's almost never as good as like what I could cook at home. I do really enjoy cooking, and I found a few recipes this year that are definitely going to stay in like my regular rotation going forward. So the items on the list that I had set, or the goals that I had set for myself at the beginning of the year that I did not complete, was number one was going to helicopter school. I didn't end up doing that, so obviously that wasn't accomplished. I honestly think it was the right decision because if I had have gone through with that, I don't think we would be moving to New Zealand because I would have student debt of about $60,000. And in order for me to pursue that job in New Zealand, I'd have to spend quite a bit more money to get the right certificates to work there. So I'm glad I didn't end up doing that. I think it's something I want to do at some point, like get a private pilot license and maybe go down the commercial road at some point, but it's not what I want to do right now. My huge focus is getting to New Zealand and moving abroad. That's always been a bucket list item for me. So I'm not too disappointed with not completing that. The next one is social life. So I wanted to focus a bit more on my social life and getting out and seeing friends. And I feel like I did okay at this. I definitely could have done a lot better. There were a lot of times where I just didn't want to spend the money. And I really hate that that is a thing because I worked so hard for so long to save a good chunk of change. And my social life suffered at that time as well. When I was making good money, I didn't want to go out and do certain things because they cost whatever. And because I haven't really worked much this year, haven't really brought in a ton of cash, it was even more apparent that I didn't want to go out and do things. So I did try to see people more frequently and going for like walks and just hanging out, chatting, going for like a coffee, things that weren't super expensive, but I really could have done a better job. And with moving abroad next year, I want to make sure that I try to find a good social circle in New Zealand. I really want to put that first. It's hard for me as an introvert to really get out there and feel like people actually enjoy being around me. Most of the time, I think the friends that I currently have right now hate me. That's just how it is. If you're like that, leave me a comment down below. But I'm always in the headspace of like, I did something wrong, or any small thing, I internalize it and think that like I'm a bad friend or nobody wants to spend time with me. That's just the way it is. I've always been that way, and I probably need to go to therapy for that, honestly. But so now let's talk about my 2023 goals, financial and life goals. The first item on this list is to get monetized on YouTube. And I'd love to get to 2 videos a week. I think those kind of go hand in hand. The growth that I've experienced since I started YouTube almost 3 years ago, actually, I think it's been like 2.5 years. It's been quite slow, and in the beginning, I really wasn't trying very hard. This last year was the first time that I put like a good amount of effort into actually making videos and getting better equipment and trying to come up with a little bit more like interesting content. But I would really like to set that goal for myself to get monetized this year. I'm just about halfway there. And like I've said, like I've said in the past, like I don't do YouTube because I want money from it. I don't want this to be a thing where I'm only doing it because I want to get paid. But YouTube does take a lot of time, a lot of effort. And if I could at some point make money from it, even if it's just like, I think a goal of like making $1,000 a month from YouTube is a good goal to have, because that means that I could work part-time still and be able to make more videos and be like more motivated to do it and get better content. At least that's a way that I think about it. I do think it could be a good income stream for me going forward, but I don't ever see it being like my full-time job. I don't know if I really want it to be. The next item is this list is to save $5,000. So I actually have a money goal for next year, which is interesting because I'm going to be moving abroad and traveling quite a bit. However, I do want to continue this kind of lifestyle for a bit. I would like to travel potentially to Scotland, maybe New York, maybe a few different spots. And after the 2 years of living in New Zealand and working, I would like to travel for a bit. And in order to do that, I'm going to have to save a bit of money. Next item I mentioned before, I'd like to maintain my movement/workout routine, just being physical, being active. I think that's going to be quite easy in New Zealand. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to finding some new hiking trails and filming that and bringing you guys along. And then the last thing on this list ties into the social life thing is to do more. So this is going to be a little bit contradictory to my last point of, or my earlier point of saving money, but I do want to do more. I want to make sure that I'm not letting money get in the way of pursuing things I want to do while we're traveling, because this might be the only time I go out to this part of the world. I want to be able to go and do the things I want to do. I want to go out and meet people and do things and just not have money get in the way. So the point of all this is that I need to find a job that actually pays decent and I need to stick to it. Having multiple income streams, things like YouTube, things like renting my condo out, which is going to bring in a little bit of money, I think are going to allow me to do that. So I don't want to be so obsessed with money in 2023 to the point where I'm not doing the things that I want to do. I have worked on that a bit in 2022, but 2023, it's going to be a lot more important. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you had an amazing New Year's and you're kicking your year off great. Leave me a comment down below about what your goals are for 2023, and I'll see you in the next video.